Hi, everybody. We're going to start here in a couple minutes, just to let a few more people come in. But yeah, we're going to start just probably right around 6. So just hold tight for a couple more minutes and we'll begin shortly. Okay, everybody. Welcome to the follow-up webinar for the University of Calgary. This is a follow-up webinar for students who've received an offer from us. We're going to talk a little bit about admissions and everything like that today. So congrats on getting your offer. That's very exciting. That's a big accomplishment for you guys. And today we're just going to talk about kind of what comes next for you. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please put a question in the Q&A box. It should just be down at the bottom of your screen. And Nick and I will answer your questions. I will answer them out loud at the end of the presentation, and Nick can answer them as the presentation goes along. So just a quick introduction. My name is Kara. I'm a student recruitment ambassador with the University of Calgary. And I'm a current student. So I am a sociology student in the Faculty of Arts, and I'm in my 3rd year. And then I'll pass the stage off to Nick just to do a quick introduction on himself.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kara. Just like Kara, we work together in the same office. I'm a current student at U of C. With that, I'm in a combined program. So if anyone has questions about that as well, too. I'm currently doing a combined program in business analytics through our BCom program and in communications and media studies through our Bachelor of Arts program. But with that, I can give it back to Kara and we can get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. So before we get going, I would just like to do a quick land acknowledgement. So we would just like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. So this includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising of the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The City of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3, I believe it is very important to include a land acknowledgement at the beginning of my presentations because we would like to acknowledge the land that the University of Calgary sits on and acknowledge, who that land belongs to. So before we get going today, these are just some QR code slides that I have of the view book. If you would like the domestic view book, that's just going to be on the left-hand side of the screen here if you want to scan that QR code. And then the Indigenous view book is just on the right-hand side of the screen. You can also find these online if you just look up University of Calgary Domestic View Book, Fall 2022 to 2023, or additionally, Indigenous View Book, Fall 2022 or 2023 to 2024. That's where you're going to be looking up in order to find our book. So just kind of jumping into it a little bit, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Alberta and Calgary for a little bit, and then we're going to jump into the University of Calgary. So just a couple of things about Alberta. I've noticed some of you are from Alberta, some of you are from out of province. A fun fact about Alberta is that we do have 0 provincial sales tax. So this means really nice on students' pockets. It makes things a little bit more budget friendly here. So we don't have any PST, we just have GST in the province of Alberta. You can also see here on the map on the right side of the screen, Calgary is located in the south of Alberta. We're really close to Drumheller, Banff, Lethbridge, and Head Smash and Buffalo Jump World Heritage Site. So there's lots of fun things to do in and around the Calgary area. We're only about a 45-minute drive away from the world famous Rocky Mountains and an hour and 15-minute drive to National Park. So it's really easy to go do a weekend trip out in the mountains, see what you see on the slide here, go and see that for yourself in person. It's quite gorgeous. I know I love doing that on the weekends. That's one of my favorite day trips in Alberta to do, as well as heading out into the Lethbridge area and into the prairies. We have 4 distinct seasons. So that's your fall, your winter, your summer, and your spring. Right now we are fully in winter, but we do get the 4 distinct throughout the year. We have 6 major ski resorts within an hour-and-a-half drive from the University of Calgary. So one of my favorites is Sunshine Skiing. That one is pretty world famous, and that one's just located in Banff National Park. And we also have 5 national parks. So Banff is one that we are most known for, but we also have different ones as well, like Dinosaur Provincial Park, just kind of around the province of Alberta. So for Calgary, if any of you are from Calgary or have been to Calgary, you might know a couple of things that I'm going to talk about today, but if you haven't, this is a really great introduction. So me, myself, I am born and raised in Calgary. So I can definitely speak to it from experience. I know Nick, he is from Red Deer, but has moved to Calgary recently. So we're both living in Calgary right now. You can see here on this slide, there is the downtown core in front of us. And then in the background, that's where you can see those world famous Rocky Mountains. The river that's just running right there is the Bow River. It actually runs through the entirety of Calgary. A nice thing is that we're a super outdoorsy city. So we have the most extensive pathway and bikeway network in all of North America. So that's open year round. That's for walking your dog. That's for cycling, just kind of getting around the city on foot. It's a super walkable city, which is really nice. It's something I really appreciate in the summertime. And it also helps to make us the 3rd most livable city in the world. So we are the 3rd most livable city in the world. And we have the number one, we're number 1 for quality of life in North America. So Calgary is a pretty great place to, be in and kind of hang out with friends, go and find stuff to do on the weekends and the weeknights. There's always something to go that's going on year round. I know right now coming up is our Christmas market series. One of the ones that is my favorite is the BMO Center holds one called Market Collective. And it's one of the biggest fairs or markets that happens in Calgary. And it's just Christmas themed. It's great. We also have the 2nd lowest cost of living in all of Canada and number 9 in North America. So again, going back to that, budget friendly for students, good on your pockets. And then employment, we're really trying to bring in a bunch of high-tech workers right now. So we have the highest concentration of high-tech workers in all of Canada. And we also have the most patents per capita. So it's a super big place for students who are looking for a job as a student, as a new grad, as, anybody can find a job in Calgary, which is really nice. And then just a little bit about the climate. One of my favorite things about the city is that we are Canada's sunniest major city. In terms of sun, we get 330 days a year. So that's only about 35 days of rainy, gloomy days. So even when it's cold outside, minus 20, you're still getting that sunshine. You're still getting that vitamin D. And then we also have Chinook winds. So the thing that's really nice is that the mountains in the background actually help raise our temperatures. So throughout the year, we get Chinooks that happen, and it usually raises our temperatures by about 15 degrees. So we're 15 degrees warmer than the rest of Alberta. So just a little bit about UCalgary now. So UCalgary at a glance, these are some statistics that I really like to talk about. One of my favorites is our 95% undergraduate retention rate. So an undergraduate retention rate means that students who stay with us for their first year actually stay with us for their entire degree. So 95% of students start and finish their degree with us. This is a very high retention rate, and this just goes to show our student satisfaction in, life on campus, academics, professors, everything that is available on campus, they're super satisfied with. So we have 14 undergraduate faculty, or 14 faculties, 10 of which are undergraduates. So those are 10 that you can enter into straight out of high school. We have 5 campuses. I'm going to show you one on the next slide, just of our map of the main campus, but we also have 3 more in Calgary. So we have one in the Foothills Hospital campus. We have 2 downtown Calgary, so one for our business master's students as well as our architect students. And then we also have one that's in Qatar. So it's an international campus and it's for our nursing students. So we've got a 28,000 undergraduate, we have 28,000 undergraduate students. So it's a pretty medium-sized campus. The majority of them are on the main campus, but they are spread out. We were founded in 1966, so we're a pretty young university, which is pretty impressive because we are on the top 5 research universities in Canada list. We're in the number 5 spot, and we're the youngest university on that list. So that just goes to show the different opportunities that you have to do research on campus. We're really big into research. We want to create the opportunities for new students, master students, PhD students. Every student across the board can find a research opportunity on campus. So then this is that map that I was talking about. This is the main campus map. So it's 520 acres of park-like campus space. You can see all of the little green dots here. Those are actually representative of real outdoor spaces on campus. We're really big on making sure that students have indoor and outdoor spaces to hang out, study, and just do some work and exist on campus. As you can see here, we have one main road that runs through campus, and it's just around the outside. It's called Campus Drive. Everything else is mainly connected by pathways and walkways. So you're going to be finding a lot of walkability, bikeability, stuff like that on campus. Another fun fact is that all of the buildings that you see here, except for 2, are connected by indoor walkways, tunnels, plus 15 systems. So you don't even have to walk outside in the winter if you don't want to. I know I really enjoy that, not having to bring my winter boots with me and my big jacket whenever I want to go and grab food. It's nice to just be able to walk around inside. If we're thinking from one end to the other, so from residence to the LRT station, we're looking at a 10 to 15 minute walk. So it all depends on how fast you're walking. But it does go to show that even though our campus is big, it's very walkable and easy to get around. Then we have over 300 clubs on campus. So clubs are a great way to meet people when you come on campus. So when you accept your offer and you're moving to a new city, you're living in a new residence, you want to meet people who are like-minded like you. And that's where clubs can really come into play. So I know Nick has a lot of experience with clubs. So I'm just going to pass it off to him really quickly to just speak about what he's experienced with clubs, because I personally haven't been able to experience any so far.
For sure. Yeah. As Kara mentioned, clubs are going to be a great way to kind of meet like-minded people in your programs. With that, there's more than 300 clubs. So almost every major on campus, every program, each faculty is going to have something represented for you on campus. For me, that meant getting involved in some really academically heavy clubs. So the Cascade Students Association and the Commerce Undergraduate Society, any potential business students who are here, really great clubs to get involved with. Lots of ways to not only find out how you're kind of performing your academics among your peers, but also what you want to do with them in the future. I like to say clubs are a really great way to find out what you like and what you don't like in terms of applying anything you've done in academics so far. But with that, a ton of different clubs on campus. Even there's a tag club on campus, so it doesn't have to be super serious. It can just be a really great way to meet people. Even pictured here is going to be the Schulich Solar Car team. They're pretty highly acclaimed on campus. They got sponsored by Porsche this past summer, also raced their car against UBC, U of T, MIT, UC Berkeley, major institutions as well. So lots going on there, but always a great way to kind of get involved in some campus activities. It's always something I'd recommend. And there's Clubs Week that happens pretty much at the beginning of the year. So once you're in Mac Hall, you'll be able to see all of that happening. I think it's about the second week into the semester, but there'll be booths set up, ways to figure out how to get involved each year as well too.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. And then there's a bunch of different ways to get active on campus. So this is another way to improve your mental health, get out there and do something that's not academic. So everything that you see here on the slide, except for the outdoor center, is completely included in your fees and tuition. So that means that you pay a one-time small fee at the beginning of the year, and then everything else is free as you go on. So the one I really like to point out here is you can see in the center of the screen, Rex is right there. He's pumping some iron in our fitness center. It is 2 stories. So he is on the main floor right now. He is using our weights, our cardio equipment, our squat racks, our cables, everything that you would find in a typical gym. And then if we go on to the top floor, that's where you're going to find a 6-lane running track and then more cardio and weight equipment. Then we also have a bunch of Olympic-sized training facilities because Calgary did host the 1988 Winter Olympics. So we have quite a few on campus. We have the Olympic Oval and the Olympic-sized swimming pool, just to name a few. The Olympic Oval is actually pretty cool because we have the fastest ice in the world. We have the most amount of speed skating records broken on our ice. And we also are the only university in North America to have an Olympic Oval on our campus. So that's pretty cool. It's a 6-lane, or it's a 3-lane speed skating track around the outside. And then there's a full-size hockey rink and a smaller speed skating track on the inside. So you can get an idea of how big it is. And then on top of that, we have the gymnastics center, we have the racket center, and then we also have intramural sports. So intramural sports are a really great way to get involved in sports. If you're not interested in playing competitively, these are going to be, you know, soccer, basketball, hockey, dodgeball, everything like that. Anything that you can think of, there's most likely an intramural sports team for it. And that's just going to be competing against you and your peers. So it's a little bit less high stakes. You're going to be going out on the weeknights to our fitness center in the kinesiology complex, and you're just going to be playing a couple of games against friends. And then the one that isn't included is the outdoor center. So I like to speak about the outdoor center because it is our rental space on campus for students. So as a student, you will get a discount off of rental equipment in the outdoor center. This is really nice because it's actually some of the cheapest rentals that you can find in all of Calgary. And it does change from season to season. So right now we're seeing a bunch of skis and snowboards, ski boots, poles, helmets, everything like that in the outdoor center. And then in the summertime, we've switched to more canoeing, kayaking, paddle boards, stand-up paddle boards, you know, all of our hiking equipment, tenting equipment, stuff like that. And they try really hard to keep really high quality products in the outdoor center to focus on student safety, because when you're out doing different activities outdoors, you know, you want to stay safe. So all of our equipment that we do carry is very high end. And then if you're interested in studying abroad, this is a really great way to customize your degree. So you've gotten an acceptance letter, you know, once you accept your offer, once you finish a full year of studies, you can actually do a study abroad as soon as your second year. You just have to make sure that you're getting in and talking to the study abroad office right away, right? Because we need to see a full year of academic study in order to approve you for a study abroad. So we have partnered up with more than 45 different countries to send students to. It's a really great option if you're interested in studying and also traveling at the same time. You can earn credits towards your UCalgary degree while also studying in another country, and you're only paying our fees and tuition. So when you go to a different country, when you go to a different school, you're only paying what you would pay being on campus. And I know Nick right now is actually planning a study abroad, so I'm going to pass it off to him just to talk a little bit more about what the process is like.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of getting set up for a study abroad, one of the best things you can do is getting involved with the study abroad office. With that, just connecting with program specialists, all the people who take care of specific regions essentially are going to have a lot of experience, not only living in those places, but sending a lot of students over the past semesters there as well too. So they're going to be a really great knowledge base. If anyone's in a Haskayne specific program, I know Stacey McGregor has been my go-to for every inquiry I have in terms of study abroad. If anyone has questions about my study abroad experience, I'm planning on going to Copenhagen next fall. But I also know friends who have gone to Italy. I have friends right now who are in Madrid, Singapore. Like there's a million different places you can go to. Not a million, but definitely a lot of different places to check out here. I also just noticed we do have a question from Alessandra here too, just on how soon we can contact the study abroad office. That's totally up to you. You can start doing study abroads as soon as after your second year. With that, you could start connecting with them during your first year if you really want to as well. Just if you want to get like some general guidance on kind of what's happening, what's going on, I think it's really beneficial. Going abroad is a little bit of a piece that's going to require some planning. So as soon as you want to, I think it's a really great time to kind of connect with them. And they're honestly super kind of chill to just have those conversations with you, talk through what kind of goals you want to fulfill on that exchange, just where you want to go in general, what they might think is the most exciting and best fit for you as well too. But I won't talk too much before I pass it back to Kara. But if that answers your question, Alessandra, let me know. But if not, just feel free to pop anything else in the Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. So moving into a little bit more on work integrated learning. So again, another great way to customize your degree. The nice thing with the University of Calgary degree is that there's so many different ways to customize it that if you have friends who are in the same program as you, odds are you're not going to be doing the same kind of, pathway. You're going to have different things that are going on, from the study abroad, work integrated learning, embedded certificates, everything like that. There's so much to do when it comes to making your degree your own and making it what you want out of those 4 years. So if you're interested, work integrated learning is a great opportunity to get hands-on paid positions. So you could do something like what Nick and I are doing right now. So we're both doing a cooperative education with arts or commerce. So it's a 4 to 16 month duration. This one's going to add some time onto your degree, but it is fully paid. So you're going to be taking that time off school. You're still considered a full-time student while you're doing a cooperative education, but you're not completing any classes while you're doing it. Then you also have the opportunity as an engineering or a science major to do an internship. So internships are very, very similar to cooperative education, but they are a little bit longer. So they're 12 to 16 months in length, and they take place after your 3rd year. So after your 3rd year, you're going to take place in an internship, take a year or more off of school, off of classes, and then you're going to go back and finish your 4th year off. Then for practicums, these ones are unpaid. So these ones are available for nursing, education, and kinesiology majors. The nice thing with these ones, though, is that although they are unpaid, they are integrated into your program. So they're integrated into the semesters that you have. So it's not actually adding any time on. And you're also doing your work, actively working towards your degree, because you need to complete these practicums in order to graduate. And then just tying up the rest of kind of the loose ends down here at the bottom, we've got health sciences, community rehab, and social work. You can do research, clinical and field experience, or community engagement. And these ones are paid or unpaid depending on which one you want to go for. And they also change in duration. It's all up to you and which ones you apply for. So work integrated learning is a great opportunity to get out there. So 94% of employment rate for UCalgary graduates. So that means that it's a little bit higher, 94% employment within 1 month of graduating for UCalgary grads when they have the distinction on their degree. And then 90% of co-op graduates in Canada receive a job offer within 1 month of applying. So, you're getting out there, you're getting that experience before you graduate. And we also have some pretty big name brands that we have placed students with, like the UN Association of Canada, ConocoPhillips, Garmin, Suncor, National Energy Board, Amazon, everything like that. We've got some pretty big names that you can work with. And then just getting a little bit more into student support. So student support is something that's available for you anytime during your degree. So the one that I really like to point out is the Student Success Center. This is one I've used in the past. They provide writing support, academic advising, peer-led study sessions. The writing support's really nice because the jump from high school to university writing can be a little bit of a bigger one, especially when you take into account all of your references and everything like that. You want to make sure it's done properly. So you can actually submit writing pieces to writing support through the Student Success Center, and they'll actually come back and do edits for you. So you can actually look and see how you can improve your paper or your written piece before you submit it. Another one is career services. So this is going to be where you're going to get interview workshops, resume support, and one-on-one career advising. If you're unsure on what your career path is intended to be, this is a great opportunity to get out there and talk to some of our advisors. Alongside this, all of the ones on the slide here are all great opportunities to go and talk to somebody about your current situation just to get a little bit more guidance. Or you can go to the Q Center or the Writing Symbols Lodge. So the Q Center is a safe and inviting space for University of Calgary's LGBTQA+ community. And then the Writing Symbols Lodge is a friendly on-campus home for cultural events, elder visits, and computer lab. This one is mainly focused towards our Indigenous students on campus to kind of provide them with a space. And then some other ones are just kind of like with residents. If you're planning on going to residence, they have their own student services as well. So in terms of next steps, so you have the offer of acceptance in your student center. What are the next steps that you're going to be taking? So step one, of course, is going to be accepting your offer. So you're going to go in, you're going to accept your offer. And when you accept your offer, you do have to pay a $500 non-refundable tuition deposit, which is due on May 1st. So this tuition deposit is actually going to go towards your first year of classes. So your first semester of classes, that $500 is going to basically act like a credit on those classes that you do. And then you're also going to attend the U at UCalgary in April of 2023. So this is a very similar event to our open house where students who were accepted and have accepted their offer letter are able to come and do a little bit more, what life is going to look like on UCalgary campus in April. And then you're going to register for courses in May of 2023. So course registrations opens in May. I will talk a little bit more about course registration a little bit later, but this is basically where you're going to go. You're going to make your schedule and you're going to enroll in the courses that you would like. So some of you might, be familiar with this term right now. If you're a high school student who hasn't completed high school yet, the odds are very high that you have a conditional offer right now. So a conditional offer basically just means that we are holding a spot for you, but we need you to complete a few things first. So what are those few things? We need you to maintain your average. We need you to complete all of the required courses for admission. So those are those 5 faculty-specific courses. We need you to submit any outstanding documents. So for people who are outside of Alberta, that's going to be transcripts that need to come from your school or your board for official transcripts and can be submitted online at your student center for unofficial. For people who have completed schooling in Alberta, you're going to be using Apply Alberta. They basically send us your transcripts, so you don't have to worry about it at all. And then we also need you to graduate from high school. So we need you to have a high school diploma. And then maintain your academic average. Basically what that means is we need you to maintain the average that you applied with in order to withhold or keep your offer standing. So this is just a little breakdown of our tuition and fees that we do have. So in terms of domestic tuition, you can see we have a bit of a range down there. For students who are in Haskayne, so that's our Bachelor of Commerce program, or in the Schulich School of Engineering, you might be on the higher end of that range there. But for students who are in our Faculty of Arts, we're looking at the low end of the range. All of the fees and tuitions that you see on the slides here and on further slides are actually for a typical 2-semester year. So this is for our fall and our winter. And then you can also see international tuition right there. So that one, again, is a range. It's a little bit higher for our international students. Then we have our general fees, books, and supplies. So this is an estimated range as well, because it all depends on whether or not you're going and buying used textbooks, new textbooks, how many new supplies you need to start off your university career. And then we also have our residence and meal plan expenses just down here at the bottom. They are lumped together into one because as a first-year residence student, you will need to have a meal plan, but I will talk about that a little bit later. We do have a slide on living on campus, but you can see how they are combined into one cost. So here's that living on campus slide. You can see here, this is on the right-hand side of the screen. That's just a general mock-up of our typical first-year dorm. So we are tied for the largest dorm rooms in all of Canada, which is pretty nice because you're not going to be sitting on top of your roommate. But as you can see here, there is no kitchen in the first-year dorm. So that is why we do require you to have a meal plan. The meal plan is going to be the 5 or the 7-day all-you-care-to-eat meal plan. It's going to give you unlimited access from when they open to when they close to the dining center right here in the middle of the screen. It is buffet style, so you can have something different every single day if you want. It's a great place to go study, hang out with friends, grab a snack before class, or just kind of like hang out. Students average around 6 times a day in the dining center with the unlimited meal plan. So that just goes to show how good the food is. If you are halal, vegetarian, or gluten-free, we also have a bunch of dietary restriction options for you as well. We also have the option of first-year single accommodations. These ones are given out on a lottery basis. So these are where you do not have a roommate. And the reason we give them out on a lottery basis is because we just have less of those rooms than the double rooms. So we do it on a lottery. Basically, on your rental application, you're going to click the box for, I would like to have a single room accommodation, and you get entered into the pool. We also have a guaranteed placement program with a roommate of your choice. So if you have somebody that you would like to live with on campus, you just have to put each other's names down on your application. They just have to match up, and then you'll get guaranteed placement with that person. As well, we do have a matchmaking system. So you're going to fill out a quick questionnaire if you don't have somebody you want to live with. And with the answers that you give us, we're going to match you with somebody who's very similar to you, and then give you their contact information 2 months in advance to you moving in. So you can meet, you can talk to them, you can hang out potentially before you move in together. It's basically like dating, but for your roommate. So you're going to basically meet somebody who's very similar to you in a lot of different ways. And then in terms of, financial support, awards are a great way to do that. So for academic awards, just last year, we gave out 25% of incoming undergraduate students got a scholarship just from us. So that's 1 in 4 students. So we gave out $20 million last year to incoming students from high school. So those are students who are like you, who just got an acceptance letter, who are coming out of high school. So our different awards, we have 3 different categories. We have the automatic awards. So automatic are ones that are basically done automatically. High school, these ones you're going to fill out a yes or no survey. And then the prestige awards, these ones actually, the deadline for application has closed. But if you have submitted an application already, please do remember that the deadline for all of your document submission is December 15th. So that's definitely one to keep in mind and is coming up pretty soon. So in terms of automatic awards, these are the ones that we have listed. The one that I'd really like to point out is if you get 95% or above in your 5 faculty-specific courses, you can get $5,000 from the President's Admission Scholarship. So this one is a rolling admission. So you're going to hear from us between November to August, whenever we get those final 5 grades in to determine your average. And it gets automatically put into your student center and applied to your tuition. Then high school ones, these ones are great. So if you go into the student center where you found your offer of acceptance, if you go under the tab titled My Financials, that's where you're going to find all of our scholarship applications as well. So high school entrance awards, these were the ones I was talking about with the quick yes or no survey. It's going to take 15 minutes of your time. And based on the answers that you give us, we automatically enter you into as many of these as we can from our scholarship pool. So you can see here we have one from Costco Canada. We do have one for not smoking. So if you don't smoke, you can also get a scholarship just for that. So you can see how they're, academic based, but also lifestyle, leadership, extracurricular based. So it's based kind of on the whole picture of you as a student. And these are due on March 1st of 2023. So you have some time to go and do it, but really it only takes 15 minutes of your time and you only have to fill out 1 survey, which is really nice. Then the Schulich Leadership Scholarship. So this is one that you might have heard of from your counselors, from your school, potentially. So this one's a great opportunity for students who maybe missed out on the prestige awards that we have and would like to go and apply for a prestige award that is outside of the University of Calgary. This one is one that your school counselor is going to nominate you for. So they have to go through the Schulich Leaders website and nominate you for the Schulich Leadership Scholarship. You can get $100,000 as an engineering student and $80,000 as another STEM program. So that's our sciences. It's offered to 20 different institutions across Canada, and we have 6 new recipients at UCalgary for fall 2021. So that gives you an idea of how many Schulich leaders we do get on a typical yearly basis. We do get quite a few of them. And then we also have the option for external awards. External awards, similar with the Schulich Leader Scholarship, are ones that you're going to apply to that are separate from the University of Calgary. These are a great option to get out there and see what else is available. You can see we do have the UCalgary/awards website here, but also another really helpful website that I used a lot as a new student was Scholarships Canada. That one's a great one where you're going to enter your information and they basically tell you all the scholarships that you can apply for. So definitely it's something to keep an eye out. We have some key award providers, Universities Canada, the Calgary Foundation, and the Loran Scholars Foundation. And then also you've probably heard of this term before, government student loans. It's a great opportunity to help you fund your education as well. So if you are a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident applying or studying for full or part-time post-secondary institution, you can apply for government student loans. So these are basically going to be a loan from the Alberta government or the Canadian government or your provincial government to help you pay the cost of university as you're going through it. And the nice thing with student loans is that you don't have to start paying them back until you're graduated from university. And then I told you guys that I would talk a little bit more about course registration. So here are some kind of key timelines that we're looking at. So course registration, in March and April, you're going to shop for classes and preload your shopping cart. So this is where you're going to look at the first year degree guide. You're going to look at the high school registration website, and you're going to see what courses we need you to take in your first year. The first year degree guide is very helpful when building your first year schedule because building your schedule is all up to you. So if you go onto the academic calendar, if you look up University of Calgary academic calendar, you can actually find an entire list of all the courses that we do offer with all of their kind of course outlines. So you can see what you're going to be taking in that course in a general idea when you're applying into it. You're gonna, in May, exact enrollment appointments will be posted to your student center. So it's going to be right on the front home page. It's going to say your enrollment appointment is this time. At that time, you're going to log onto your student center, and anything that you've loaded into your shopping cart, you're then going to check out and add it to your official schedule. So the course registration for admitted high school students who have accepted their offer of admission or paid their deposit. So this is students like you guys who have an offer already. Once you accept them, this is when your course registration is going to be. And then in June and July, we're going to explore government student loan opportunities. So like I was talking about in the previous slide, access confirmation of registration forms, complete your RESP paperwork. And then in August, you're going to understand tuition and general fees, because tuition and general fees is due in September. So definitely something to keep in mind. And then you can also opt out for health and dental. So we do have health and dental benefits for students, but if potentially you have some still through your family, there is an option to opt out of this benefit charge that you would be getting on your student account. Then new student orientation is a really, really fun way to get out there and meet people in your faculty who are also first year students. So the new student orientation is going to take place within a week of the first day of classes. So it's going to be your official welcome to our campus community right before classes start. So it's just going to be first year students on campus for new student orientation. You're going to get your pressing questions answered about classes, class schedules, everything like that. You will get a free t-shirt for your faculty. So each faculty has a different colored t-shirt. It's really fun because when you're all sitting in the big gym, so the Jack Simpson gym, it's really cool because you can see every faculty kind of separated by their t-shirt colors. You're going to meet people from your faculty. I know I have friends who I met during first year orientation. I have friends who met their friends at first year orientation. These are friendships that you're going to have for your entire year, your entire undergraduate career, because the potential of you guys having classes with them is very high. You're going to get firsthand advice from experienced orientation leaders. So all of our orientation leaders are current students. So similar to Nick and I, they're going to talk to you a little bit about classes. It's all volunteers. So they're there. They want to help you get acquainted with the University of Calgary campus, meet new friends, to attend events like Kickoff. So Kickoff is the first football game of the season. It takes place at the McMahon Stadium, and it's where our Dinos will play their first football game of the season. It's a very big student event. There is somewhat of a barbecue kind of cookout in the parking lot before the event starts. So it's a great way to go out and meet new people and then learn how to make the most of your education. So these are some important dates I'd really like to highlight right now for you guys. So the ones in the red box are ones that are happening in 2022. So the one that is coming up is the Prestige Awards document deadline, the one that I talked about before. So the December 1st and October 1st have passed, but the December 15th is the one that is left in 2022. And then when we're looking into the white box, we're seeing all of our 2023 deadlines. So if you're interested in residence, the application is going to open on January 1st of 2023. So this is really important because if you apply before May 1st of 2023, you get guaranteed 2 years of residence, but it has to be before that May 1st deadline. March 1st is going to be when our application deadline closes. It's the deadline to make changes to your program choices for your application. And fall 2023 undergraduate award application closes. So that's that high school entrance awards. March 15th, your unofficial transcripts and supporting documents have to be in to us by that date. May 1st is the deadline for students to accept their offer. And then early May, new students begin registering for first year courses. June 30th is the deadline for completion of all high school courses required for admission. So this means those 5 faculty specific courses have to be completed by that June 30th deadline. And then August 1st to 30th, we need your final transcripts in. And this is also going to be where you're going to be finalizing, making sure that your schedule is all good and getting ready for the first day of classes. So this is a really helpful slide here. These are going to be the people that can now help you moving forward. So faculty advising, if you're interested in talking to an advisor from your faculty, you can do faculty advising for in-depth course selection advising. There's going to be the degree guide, overall program planning, and they do an appointment or drop in depending on how much time they have. Appointment is a great way to get in contact with them because then you'll have a specific time set out. You can see that website down there. That's going to be where you're going to go to learn a little bit more about faculty advising. Then we have new student registration assistance. So this is for your general course selection and schedule building, registration troubleshooting, everything like that. So if you're going through Schedule Builder and you're running into issues, this is going to be who you're going to reach out to. And it's book by appointment. So you can talk to a person through an appointment, or there's that email right down there at the bottom of the screen. And then enrollment services. So this is again for registration troubleshooting, or if you're interested in adding, dropping, or swapping courses, this is where you're going to go to speak to them. And then there's lots of ways to connect to these people. We actually have an enrollment services desk right outside of our office. If you're ever on campus, it's in a building called the Hunter Student Commons. It's up on the second floor, and they do drop-in in-person advising. So you can see that website down there at the bottom. That's where you're going to learn a little bit more about our enrollment services. And then this is just our recruitment team here. So the two I really like to point out, if you are an Indigenous student who is interested in learning about the Indigenous pathway programs that we do have, please reach out to Kelsey Jackson at indigenous.recruiter@ucalgary.ca. Or additionally, if you have any additional questions about what your offer of acceptance means as a student who might have international credentials and national credentials, you can reach out to Vanessa at community.liaison@ucalgary.ca. But for any general inquiries, please do reach out to your region-specific email down here at the bottom. You can see we have a different one for every single region in Canada. So if you're in Alberta, it'll be alberta.recruiter@ucalgary.ca. If you're in BC, it'll be bc.recruiter, and so on and so forth. And then this is just for you to connect with us. So this is just me here on the slide. And then you can see all of our social medias are on the left-hand side of the slide. So you can see we have an Instagram, a Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, a podcast, and a Pinterest page. So if you would like to text with us, you can WhatsApp message us. I really do suggest listening to the UCalgary podcast. You can go and find us talking to faculty and staff and students about what their life at UCalgary looks like. It's really helpful if you want to hear a little bit more straight from the source. And then our Instagram and Facebook are our most active pieces of social media. So if you would like to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the University of Calgary, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And we also will live stream all of our events. So like the one today, we are live streaming on our Facebook page. And this is a way that you can kind of see and get involved with all of our future student events. So now I'm just going to open it up to questions. So that's going to be where you're going to put the question in the Q&A tab. And I will either answer it out loud, or Nick can also answer it just via typing. And then if you don't have any questions, that's all we have for you guys today. So thank you for coming. If you're planning on running off now, totally cool. But I'm also going to stick around for a little bit longer to answer a couple of questions. So what does it mean to be on a wait list? How long can I expect to wait for a confirmation? So being on a wait list basically means it typically does happen in the later part of the year when our courses are full. So this is going to be where you are on a wait list. You're placed in a spot for us to kind of look at you as a student drops out or a spot opens up. Then you move up in the wait list. So it depends on which program you're waitlisted for. Some of our programs have smaller amounts of students. So for example, our neuroscience program only lets in 30 students a year. So chances are students will be on the wait list for a little bit longer for that one. But ones that have, a bigger amount of students that they can let in, you're going to be on the wait list for a shorter amount of time. And it all depends on where your spot is on the wait list. But that's basically what a wait list means. And then for the documents deadline for Prestige Awards, does that include AP test results? If yes, how do we complete that to-do item? So in terms of our Prestige Awards, it all depends on what Prestige Award you're doing, but that documents deadline basically means all of our written pieces. So Prestige Awards have a written element to them. So if you've submitted your written element, it's usually an essay style question. That one's going to be what we mean by document submission. For AP test results, those ones have to come in by that document deadline later in the year. So those are your transcripts. I'm glad to hear that U of C is your first choice. That's very exciting. U of C is a great option, if you're, depending on where you are in, Canada, it's a great option to either stay close to home or explore a new province as well. We are a young university who's really trying to just constantly excel as we're going. So thank you so much for U of C being your first choice. Can you move into residence in third and fourth year? Yes, you definitely can. Residence is open to students of all years. We give primary precedence to our first year students because we understand that they typically live on residence most. So we have a lot of first year residence options, but residence options like our apartment style residence plans, those ones are given primarily to third and fourth year students first. So yes, you can definitely apply for residence in your third and fourth year, but those first 2 years are going to be guaranteed. And then after that, you'll have to reapply and, get back into residence. I hope that answered your question. If I got admitted to my second choice program and my first choice program is still being evaluated and I get into my first choice, will I still be able to accept my second choice if I wanted to? Yes. So at the end of the day, you get to accept one letter or one offer letter, whether that be your first or your second choice. It all depends. You don't have to pick your first choice. If you get an offer for both of them and you would like to choose your second choice, definitely you just have to go in and submit or accept the offer for that second choice and pay the deposit for that second choice. And then your first choice will just be canceled out after that. Is it common for offers to be rescinded? What if your grade 12 marks are not as high as your grade 11 marks? This is a great question. So this is something that a lot of students can worry about, and I definitely understand that. Offers that we rescind are typically if we see a massive drop in grades, right? So when we say maintain your average, what we're basically asking of you is to maintain the average that you applied with, but also maintaining the average that we have as our estimated competitive average. So if you applied with something that's way above what the estimated competitive average is, and you drop below that, but you're still within the estimated competitive average range, we don't usually rescind offers in that situation because you're still within the range to be competitive. If it does drop below the estimated competitive range, then we might be looking at rescinding your offer. But usually if it's by 1 or 2% up or down, it's not that big of a deal. Would it ever be possible that a class required for my degree is full? This is definitely possible. So this is something that students can see throughout the years, but we do something. So when you're applying for classes, something that we do is when you're applying for a class that's required from your degree, most times is that they will actually have a reserved number of seats for students that are in that faculty. So for example, I took a sociology class in my first year. It was a required class for me, and half of the seats, because it was a 250-person class, half of the seats were reserved just for sociology majors. So this means that only sociology majors could take up those reserved seats. And then after, a certain deadline, it's usually in July, it opens up to the rest of students to apply into. But until that July deadline, any of those reserved seats can only be taken up by people in that major or in that, program. But it is possible that a class required for your degree is full, but usually with those classes that are very popular, they are offered in both semesters. So they're offered multiple times a week, both semesters. So chances are you'll be able to find one that isn't full. It just might not fit into your schedule the way that you wanted it to. And that's why it's super important to keep an eye on your enrollment date because you want to go on and enroll as soon as possible. So you want to go on exactly at your enrollment date, add all the courses to your cart, and then check out so then you are enrolled in them. Otherwise, you might be waitlisted. Are you allowed to change your program during your first year? Yes, you are. So the only thing with changing your program is that you have to meet the transfer requirements for the program that you're changing into. So if you are a business student, or let's say you're an art student who's wanting to change from, a philosophy degree into an anthropology degree. Basically, you would just need to go online and use our admissions widget to look at the transfer requirements or use the academic calendar to view what the transfer requirements are. But typically we like to see a full year completed, as it shows your academic, how well you're doing, because we need to see that GPA at the end of the year. But even if you have to change your program in your second year, you have a lot of room for electives, and any courses that you took in your first year can be used towards those electives. I hope that answered your question. If that doesn't, please use this email. If I applied and got accepted to my second choice and I wanted to change my first choice option because the average went up, can I do that and how? So you can change what programs you have applied into. It's going to be through your student center. So you're going to go onto your student center and you're going to then make changes to your application. If you look up how to change my application UCalgary online, it should pop up with an article on how you go about that process as well. Oh, I want to make sure I'm not losing it. There we go. Okay. But yeah, so if you would like to change your first choice program, that's definitely an option, but then you're going to have to go back into the reevaluation stage. So we're going to look at your application again for that first choice. So anytime you change the program that you are applying to, we will have to reevaluate your offer of acceptance if you have one, to see if you meet the requirements for that one. Does residents have kitchens? Are there opportunities to cook for yourself? So as you kind of saw in the resident slide, the typical first year residence does not have a kitchen. So that's why we do require the meal plan for all of our first year students. Once you get out of your first year into that like 2 years of guaranteed residence into your second year, students do have the opportunity to level up their residence plan and move into more of an apartment style residence. I have also had friends who have moved into an apartment style residence right off the bat, straight out of high school, but it is rare because we do give those, apartment styles to our second, third, and fourth year students first. So the opportunity that you have, there is an opportunity to get a kitchen, but it is very unlikely that it will happen. And again, that's why we have the meal plan as a requirement. If you could give all first years one piece of advice, what would it be? My piece of advice would definitely be, and Nick, if you have anything to add to this, please do weigh in. My piece of advice would definitely be to go to orientation and get involved in as many student events as possible. Go to kickoff, go to the Crow Child Classic, go to new student orientation, join a club, get out there, because that's how you're going to find your group of people. That's how you're going to find your friend group, right? Because university can be, you're spending a little bit more time by yourself, and it can be nice to get out there and meet some people. And that's definitely because I started university when things were fully online in COVID. And that's something that I definitely felt that I missed out a lot on. So now that everything's back in person again, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you go to it. They do some really big ones like the new student orientation, or they also do, smaller ones. I know this year they set up a fire pit in the main quad area and had people roasting s'mores, right? So it was just an opportunity for students to get out there and meet people. And that's my biggest piece of advice. If you have anything to add, Nick, hop in, but I know you're also answering a question just kind of above there.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of answering a question there, but I'll answer you, Florence, super, super quick here. But in terms of first year advice, one of the biggest things, I even spoke at first year orientation this past year, got to shut off some of the wisdom I'd like to think I have. But one of the biggest things I like to say is a lot of the people you're going to meet at U of C are all doing great things. It's really easy to get kind of caught up in the spin of all of that. But one really great thing that you'll kind of learn is that you really are on your own little journey. If you want to start your own thing at U of C, you definitely can as well too. And if you want to create your own avenue, you definitely can as well. But just know there's going to be a lot of people to support you there. And everyone's on a different path. So yeah, definitely lots going on. And I just think getting involved with as many people as you can is really beneficial, because you never know who you're going to get like a mentorship relationship from. Even kind of answering Florence's question, there's going to be tons of networking events on campus. It's pretty much why it's taking me so long to type there. But pretty much everything's going to be a really great way to meet kind of people, industry professionals, community leaders. Just kind of putting yourself out there is a really great way to do that. But I'm just going to finish responding there and pass it back to Kara here.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. Does the December 15th Prestige Award deadline only apply to the Bachelor of Health Sciences faculty for their supplemental application? So with that one, the supplemental application for health sciences students is not due until March 15th. So the Prestige Award deadline is just if you applied for Prestige Awards in your student center that now have a additional written piece, or they require additional documentation, depending on which Prestige Award you apply for. That's going to be its own separate thing away from, health sciences, supplemental piece, or engineering. But if you did apply for a Prestige Award for engineering students or health sciences students, that whatever the supplemental piece or the document is that they need through Prestige Awards, that's what you're going to be applying or submitting on December 15th. Anything to do, again, with that supplemental piece for admission isn't due until March 15th. So don't have to worry about the supplemental piece just yet. We just need the documents for your awards. So we're just talking awards right now. No worries about the supplemental piece just yet. I hope that explained it well. Are there recordings of faculty info meetings like the ones that were happening last week? So with our faculty info meetings, we do have a YouTube channel. So like the one I had on the slide earlier, that's going to be where you're going to go and find all of our pre-recorded and previous, things like that. And that's where you can find faculty information recordings from things that have happened in the past. So if you go and find the University of Calgary Future Students YouTube channel, or just look up University of Calgary on YouTube, you should be able to find our YouTube channel. And there you're going to find a bunch of different playlists full of different YouTube videos that you can watch through and get a little bit more information on. So that's going to be where you're going to find those pieces. A bit of an odd question. Okay, but are hoodies part of the package or do we buy them separately? So with hoodies and merch and swag and everything like that, it's completely, so the free item that you get is going to be the t-shirt that you get on first day orientation. So if you actually look on this slide here where it says questions, you can see that some students are wearing those shirts. That is completely free for you, right? There's other events throughout the year that we do give free swag and merch out at, but hoodies and stuff like that, like hats, gloves, that's all stuff that you can find to buy in the bookstore. So the bookstore is just on campus in the MacEwan Student Center. You can come on campus now and buy a hoodie. I know when I was a new student, my mom actually bought me a hoodie and gifted it to me for Christmas in kind of celebration of me getting an offer of acceptance. So you can definitely go and buy one now if you want to start repping the University of Calgary logo, but that is something that you would have to buy separately. But the t-shirt for orientation and, like other stuff that we give out at different events is completely free. Awesome. Thank you so much. Perfect. Does UCalgary mail anything to admitted students? So alongside all of the digital pieces that we will give you, we do send information in the mail, but typically stuff that we send in the mail is not something that you wouldn't be able to find online through your student center, right? So keep an eye on your mailbox. I know we are currently in the works of sending out something for Christmas. So if you keep an eye on that, we do have some Christmas cards heading your guys' way, hopefully sometime soon. But there shouldn't be anything super important mailed to you that you can't find on your student center. When does the deadline to pay admission fee for students accepted for fall 2023? So this $500 fee, let me just go back here in the slide so I can show you on the this guy right here. So you can see that you need to accept your offer on May 1st, and then that $500 deposit, that guy is going to be due. I just want to pull it up on the slides here so you can see it. The deposit is due also on May 1st. So you have to accept your offer and pay the deposit by May 1st of 2023. So that's definitely something to keep in mind to remember is that May 1st deadline. If you would like to, you can also join our mailing list and we're going to send you deadline information and reminders throughout the year. So as new deadlines come up, you'll get an email in your inbox just about anything new that's happening. So that's definitely a great way to do it. But the deadline to pay the admission fee is going to be May 1st for that $500 deposit. So supplementary essay for health sciences deadline is March 1st. However, do you think that I should have done it as soon as possible to guarantee admission, or does submitting it in January or later reduce my chances? So the thing with health sciences is that we do have to evaluate your supplemental application in order to evaluate you as a student, right? That's something that we need to have included in your evaluation. So I would suggest students complete it sooner rather than later. But again, March 15th, we wouldn't set a deadline. That means that if you submit it by that March 15th deadline, you're not getting it at all. We wouldn't set a deadline like that. So if you submit it in January, enjoy your Christmas, take your student break, and use that student break to, write a really, supplemental essay for health sciences. That's going to really show that you're a great candidate. Spend some time on it, make sure it's not rushed. But definitely I would start working on it. But again, we wouldn't set that deadline knowing that if students submitted it on that day that they wouldn't get in. So there's not a whole bunch of pressure. So don't worry about that too much. Where do I sign up for the mailing list? So that's a great question. The mailing list, that one, you can join our general mailing list. I will also pull up a quick QR code here on my screen. So if we just look here, I can probably find it. I just have it in my personal information. Okay, so if we just look here, I will put it up on the screen for you guys if you would like to scan it. This is a great way to get in contact with us. Just going to scan the QR code and it'll basically put you on a mailing list where I'm going to so here, let's see. There we go. Okay. So if you scan that QR code there, oh, it's getting mad at me today. Here we go. If you scan this, you can get on my mailing list, and that's where I'm going to send you all those deadline reminders. So I'm just going to leave this up on the screen here if you would like to scan it, and that's going to be how you're going to get on the mailing list. And then I think Nick is answering the last question here. I think I'll make this our last call for questions. If anybody has anything else that they would like to share, please do. Perfect. Okay. I'm just going to let Nick finish up typing his answer really quickly. And then I think we will call it for the night. So I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and, asking some questions, getting to know UCalgary a little bit more, getting to know some of the next steps that you have going forwards in accepting your offer, and why you should choose UCalgary at the end of the day. It's a great school with some great opportunities. I can speak to that personally, and so can Nick. So definitely, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to us via email and we can answer them as soon as we possibly can. Oh, I see one more question. Thank you for hosting this session. No worries. Thank you so much, you guys. You were a great audience. Again, thank you for the amazing questions. Really appreciated it today. So I'm just going to end the meeting if everybody's okay with that. Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much today, guys.